It's Monday. Welcome to Museum Moments. Hey, so this is part 2 of my review of the Exploritorium in San Francisco. Part 1 is right there. So if you want to click that link and go watch the first one, then you can see what I talked about last week about this museum. And if you've already seen it or if you don't care, we're going to be talking about what else I saw this week. So last week I basically gave you a brief overview of what the museum is, but I thought that this week I would just go into detail with 3 of my favorite things at the museum. One of my favorites was probably this, you might call it a sculpture, but anyways, so it was this thing called a sip of conflict. So this toilet is actually a drinking fountain, and it does work, just these little guys are having a hard time getting the handle to work. But the whole thing is basically that people have a hard time drinking out of it, even though they know it's clean, they know it's never been used as a toilet, it's just the mental connotations that go along with it. Unfortunately, I didn't get it on film, but it was really cool just to sit and watch the kids, because the adults would just kind of walk by it and be like, ew, that's a toilet, and just keep going. The little girls would look at it and be like, ew, that's so gross. The little boys were like, totally awesome, and like huge line of little boys, all about ages 4 to 8, wanting to drink out of this toilet. It was hilarious. I think my favorite exhibit had to have been the optical illusion exhibit, because it just had a bunch of examples and experiments showing optical illusion and exactly the different kinds, and it was just really fun. These rings look like 2 rings that are like rolling off of each other, but in fact they are 2 rings, but they're fused together even though they don't look like it. It was really cool. This one's also pretty awesome in a creepy sort of way. This face looks like it's sticking out at us at first, but then as you look at the other one, you can tell that it's actually inwards, and it kind of looks like its eyes are following us, which is a little strange. When it comes to optical illusions, almost everyone has seen this one, where it's either you see faces or you see a vase. It's pretty stereotypical and run-of-the-mill when it comes to optical illusions, but have you ever seen the faces talk? Pretty darn cool, huh? This one's kind of interesting too. These vials are being submerged into the water, and they're made of different types of glass. So when you submerge them, only the one made of a different type of glass than the others can actually be seen. This optical illusion uses projection and light. You see the spring, but the spring isn't really there. So as you stare at this window, it appears that it's rotating in 2 separate directions, but as you approach it, you realize that that's actually not the case. So upstairs in the Exploratorium, they have another cool exhibit. It's the biology exhibit, which I personally was interested in. They had some really cool things like a human brain, and they had some other kind of weird things like sea urchin semen. So that was kind of strange. But overall, it was a really cool exhibit. I think it might have been a little over the head of a lot of the smaller children, though. So if you visit this place, you might just want to skip that part of the museum. It's not a very big part. You're not missing much, but little kids would not really be interested in it all that much, I don't think. So I found this one really fascinating. It shows a bunch of pictures of fetuses of different species of animals at the same part in gestation. And then under the flaps, it tells you what animal it is. And this was pretty darn cool. It's actually a human brain that has been like plasticized. And the huge giant cells were pretty fascinating also, and I saw a lot of kids enjoyed them. They had plant cells and they had body cells, and they also had all these blown up things of like different cells and germs and cool things. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, that's the Exploratorium. Take what I have here and in my video, my other video that's right here, and multiply that by like 50, and that's how many things there are to see and do. Even if you don't like science, you will find something that will interest you, I promise. If you go there and don't like anything, comment and I will apologize to you, because I really truly think that anyone can find at least one exhibit or at least one experiment that is fun and enjoyable. So you should definitely go if you are in San Francisco, and you should definitely go if you're in San Francisco with children. Because I know sometimes in that city it's kind of hard to find things to do with kids, but you can definitely do some pretty awesome things there, and it could be an all day thing. So yeah, that's all I have for the Exploratorium. Next week is my last San Francisco video. I think. Yeah, I think next week is my last San Francisco video. It might be in 2 parts also. I'm not sure because it's also a pretty big, extensive museum. And then I'll probably be back to Sacramento museums. So if you live in the Sacramento area and have a recommendation for me, please put it down in the link because I've been to quite a few and I'm starting to run out. And, and during the summer, I am going to be in Oregon for a while, and I'm going to be in Washington. So if you live in any of those places, or you've been to those places, please recommend more museums for me, so that'd be cool. And that is all I have for this week. Have an awesome week, and I will see you next Monday.